Welcome to the YouTube edition of the book The Marble Lion. You are about to embark on a journey of Chapter 8. Please subscribe and click the like button to support the channel and get notified when the next chapter is out. Please check out my published novel, Phoenix and Me. The link is provided in the description below. Additionally, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, the link is also included in the description below. Thank you. Previously in The Marble Lion, Margaret contemplates her struggles with her identity, hidden past, and unresolved grief over Doris's death, which drives her thirst for justice and truth. Her encounter with Charles reveals a mix of attraction and barriers, which include his relationship status as well as her own demons. After losing consciousness in front of Charles, Margaret finds comfort in him. Still, she quickly decides to distance herself emotionally, focusing instead on her mission to uncover the circumstances behind Doris's death. She chooses instead to visit Carlos Bardem, someone who knows her true self intimately. What comes next? Chapter 8 starts now. Don't you remember all the past lives that we went through together? I do, at least 2. And even though I am refusing to look at your empty closet space now, I am aware that you have left, but you will be back. I know. You always come back. When I arrive at the Blue Heart facility, Carlos is lucid, but his talk is all over the place. He is holding my hand and kissing it gently, looking at me like he used to. One of the nurses helps me take Carlos outside to the garden, where we can use the nice weather and soak up the sun for a bit. Sir Bardem was feeling quite good today. He is on his meds. Yes, there is a bit of a maze in his sentences, but the doctor thinks it is due to the large amount of data processing in his brain when he is lucid. And he has been lucid today, for the most part. Call us if you need anything. Nurse says before leaving the two of us alone. I smile at her and nod. I am sorry I haven't come sooner, Carlos. It has been a while. I bite my lower lip, feeling guilty. Don't me, Amor, don't do that. Haven't we outgrown the sense of guilt about everything already, He asks. And please, don't bite your lip like that. You know that drives me crazy. He growls while reaching to touch my lip with his thumb. He leans in closer, drawn to me with an undeniable pull. The air between us thickens as he reaches out, his thumb softly gliding over my lips. And he feels the warmth and the softness, a gentle touch that sends a spark of electricity between us. My eyes meet his, wide with a mix of surprise and familiarity. He watches as my lips part slightly, silently inviting him to continue. With a tender touch, he traces the outline of my mouth, remaining still there for a moment, feeling the connection around us. It's a delicate gesture filled with promise and unspoken feelings. Intimacy was never a problem. We could make each other moan and swell, even without touching. Even now, with him often weaker than before and frequently angry and resentful, he still loves me when he is in a good state. All of me. I might never have met Carlos if it weren't for Doris. She was the one who convinced me to approach him and ask him out. That is how it started. It was a simple ask, a spark, but it turned out to be such a unique magic being around Carlos. A man more than a decade older than I, our connection sparked from our first date at an art gallery. Yes, I invited him to an exhibition instead of just a coffee. He was charming and intelligent, and he captivated me. Our relationship blossomed through romantic dinners, laughter, and shared passions for both science and art. We created a sense of intimacy that transcended romance. There was nothing traditional in our relationship, and yet it was everything that both of us needed at the time. I still remember the feeling the first time I saw him in the hallway at our faculty building. I was 24, and he was 40 when we met. He was tall and well-dressed, giving the impression that he worked in an office rather than a laboratory. But that is who he was. He always took care of his appearance. Clothes had to match, shoes had to be clean, his beard shaved, and hair combed. The first time I saw him, He was wearing a light blue shirt, the top button unbuttoned, straight leg, high-waisted jeans, and a dark brown leather Gucci belt that matched the exact color of Gucci's shoes. His reading glasses were on the top of his head, and he had a serious look on his face. I remember that when he passed beside me, he looked me directly in the eyes, and I felt a spark, a recognition pull that left me without a breath. Later, he admitted that he thought the same thing. We both were drawn to each other instantly. The problem was that I was still attending the classes where he was a teaching assistant, and even though some were bending the rules and finding loopholes to just get into the affair, Carlos and I were not that type of people. We knew how we felt, and that was enough. We did not want to break the rules. It felt like with breaking the rules, we would break the spell of our emotions. We did not mind waiting. If something was meant to happen, it will happen. There will be a way. When Doris pointed out that my clinical anatomy and physiology classes were over and that he was no longer my teaching assistant, all the longing looks, all the accidental touches, all the heated discussions about the newest discoveries, everything came bursting into my chest. And even though I wanted to appear cool, calm, and collected in front of Doris, and I actually didn't care that much about asking a guy out, that was a massive deal for me because I did like that specific guy for several years. He was always there in the back of my mind. There was something mysterious in him and his demeanor. He was a foreign national with a work visa. He passed additional examinations to become a teaching assistant in the United States of America, despite already holding a full professorship position in his own country. However, he wanted to try to succeed in the United States of America. He wanted to conduct his research where it was known that the research was of the highest quality, and he accepted that he would likely be demoted. He would be a teaching assistant until the rest of his career, but he would do what he loves. He would teach students and conduct excellent research, and that was all he wanted to do. It did help that he had some money saved from before he arrived in the States, so that he could feel like himself in the matters of fashion and art, which he loved too. His brain was beautiful to me. I have enjoyed listening to him. He was a renowned professor in Europe, possessing a wealth of knowledge and experience to share with his students. Even though he tried several times to convince me that his brain was a mess and that no one would get it, that many times he didn't understand himself. But I did not care about those comments, and whenever I could, I tried to help him organize his plans and thoughts into cohesive strains. Being this close to him and his beautiful mind, unfortunately, gave me a front seat to the first performance of his decline. Months before he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I knew he had it, and he knew it too. He refused to go to the doctor. He didn't want it documented in writing. He wanted to postpone the reality for as long as possible. I enabled it. I wanted him in the familiar setting as long as possible, trying to trigger good days as many times as we could. Never for a second did I think of leaving him when things got hard. He was my first love, and after losing Doris, he was the one who stood by my side, gluing the pieces together. When the time came for me to do my first residency after medical school, Carlos's condition had worsened significantly. I postponed my plans until the day when he got furious because he couldn't remember his mother's name. He broke many things in the house. He cried. He yelled. He told me to leave him. He chased me out of the house while I was crying at the doorstep, begging him to let me in, trying to convince him that we can work things out. However, I knew that we couldn't. That evening, when he was a bit better, he asked me to let him go to the specialized facility where they could take care of him while I continued with my studies. That is when I told him that I had changed my mind. Instead of pursuing a career in medicine, I wanted to know what was happening behind the scenes in clinical research and what exactly had happened to Doris. We chose the facility for Carlos in Chicago so that he would be close to me, and he wanted to be involved in my detective work as much as possible. "My connections are now yours," he said. When he said that, I cried like I never cried before. Not even when I lost Doris. I suppose everything had accumulated to the point where losing her and losing Carlos, in some way, made it all feel real and raw. "I don't want your connections," I cried. He would take me into his lap and rock me gently, stroking my hair, which brought a sense of warmth and care. "I wish this could last forever, this moment, me in your arms," I would whisper. "Me too, mi amor, me too," he would whisper back. I allowed myself to remember that moment with Carlos before he was admitted to the facility. I feel it through his touch right now. We look into each other's eyes and we kiss. We surrender to the memories of us being together, of our dreams that we were going to stay together until the end of time. Kissing him feels natural. His kisses were always sending chills all over my body, and they do so now too. When we separate after the kiss, I tell him, "I love you." "Even when I do not know who I am, my soul loves you," he replies. You might wonder, how is it possible to love two people at the same time? I don't know. Maybe it has to do with luck, or maybe with the size of the heart, I don't know. But I do have feelings for two people, Charles and Carlos. However, at this moment, I can only know that my love for Carlos can stand the test of time. Who is Charles, and what can he or will be in my life? Only time will tell. Do you want to tell me how things are progressing in the company? Do you have any insights? Carlos asks. My eyes drop to my shoes. I do not want to talk about Charles or any of that, not now. How is that boss of yours treating you? What was her name? Elizabeth, I reply. It's fine, I guess. It can always be worse. Anyway, I hope I can get more into the R&D department, where I can get more information on the processes they use for testing their products. You're getting through that young man, Charles, was it? Carlos asks, and I know that my face turns red. I am tired, Carlos. Can we just enjoy each other's company and not talk about the plots and twists? I hiss, frustrated. Carlos reads me like a book, and he had already read several pages ago what was happening between Charles and me, but he never asked directly. He never wanted to know. He was clear from the beginning of his symptoms that he expects me to find someone else and be happy. I always negated that "I don't want anyone but you" was what I was saying. But Carlos knew better. He knew that someone would come into my life. And probably now he thinks that that someone is Charles. I am sorry, I sigh. I didn't mean to sound like that. I know it's always me who wants to talk, but today I don't feel like talking about the company. I just want to be with you. Are you okay, mi amor? Carlos asks, reaching out with his hands to hold my head. I lean my cheeks into the cradle made of his big, secure hands and close my eyes. I am now, I reply and kiss his palms one after another. The chapter is now finished. Thank you for listening to Chapter 8 of the book The Marble Lion. Don't miss the following video on this channel, which will be the next chapter. Listen, subscribe, and like the videos. Thank you.